Hi, I'm Len. This is Straight Talk from the Homeland. In the last few days, we've been subjected to the most gruesome videos and evidence of Azeri atrocities, mutilation of women soldiers, and the horror of watching prisoners of war being shot like dogs, ISIS style. That's why, for me, Azerbaijan has become ISIS in the Caucasus. And what's been the reaction to these videos? Well, at least finally we see some interest from the West, shall I say. Not so much both sides, because I blame the West, especially Ursula von der Leyen, Charles Michel, and Biden, for their even-handed approach to what's obviously not even-handed, authoritarian attack by both Azerbaijan and Turkey on a democracy, Armenia, and an emerging democracy in Artsakh. I see some comment by Armenians, "Don't show these videos." Well, I understand that personally it's very upsetting to watch, and you don't have to watch. Unfortunately, the world needs to be shocked, especially in the West with their self-interest. The West won't do anything unless it's because they might get cold in winter and they need something. Or they're just simply shocked from what they see. Since Armenia doesn't have oil and gas, I'm afraid this is the only way of making change. So I don't agree with people that say, hide those videos. There are other ways. There are no other ways to get people in the West to sit up and pay attention. Of course, the Azeris, in their normal way, have been trying with their mirror propaganda to talk about Armenian war crimes and things like that, mines. Well, of course, the International Court of Justice has already thrown out many times the issue of mines as being a racist issue. But then they keep coming up with the same old stories again about Khojaly. Now, many Armenians don't have a clue about the Khojaly Massacre. Actually, I call it the Massacre because it happened near Aghdam, not Khojaly, to villages from Khojaly. And I often wondered why Armenians didn't talk more about this, as if they were ashamed of this event, as if they thought that Armenians did it, just like the Azeris tell the world. But I researched Khojaly some time ago. It's sometimes called Khojaly. And it's very, very clear from the evidence where the victims were shot at close range in the knees, some scalped. On Azeri-held territory, and then the bodies, against Islamic principles, displayed for weeks as if some sort of war propaganda. And it all, of course, led to the overthrow of the then President Aliyev of Azerbaijan, and ultimately the installation of the Aliyev family, the corrupt, nepotistic Aliyev family, who we should all remember caused deep oppression and poverty to the Azeri people. It's not just about the oppression and hatred, racist, state-sponsored hatred against the Armenian people. This dictator, this monster, every bit as bad as Putin, or perhaps worse, who sends his troops to mutilate, to murder, to do whatever cowardly acts that he can to try and stay in power. He has to be stopped. And how does he get stopped? Well, he gets stopped through the condemnation of the international community, as I said, but also by undermining the very racist doctrine that Azerbaijan teaches its children. Now, if the so-called Khojaly Massacre was perpetrated by the National Front Azeri troops, then I ask you, why isn't Armenia, Artsakh, and the diaspora telegraphing that to the world? Why aren't Armenians commemorating these victims? Because indeed, Armenians are victims of that tragedy as well. It's used as the lightning rod for racist, discriminatory hatred against Armenians, and has no doubt led to the death of hundreds of Armenians because of the hatred instilled in Azeri brains. This is not normal behaviour. So if we undermine the very basis of racial hatred and also inform people that a certain family benefited from lying to the world about who perpetrated this crime, then why wouldn't you? Now, I put in the information below the video links to the article that I wrote about Khojaly, which has been subsequently printed by the National Academy of Sciences, and which shamefully was never printed by any Armenian-based media, so that you have the opportunity also to read it, to understand the facts, to look at the videos taken by Azeri videographers and by independent journalists, which show the facts that Azerbaijan killed their own Khojaly villages near Artsakh. I am asking you to spread the word, to undermine the Azeri propaganda, which tries to diminish the truth of the cruelty, the monstrous, depraved behaviour of Azeris who have been indoctrinated by this very propaganda. I ask you to try and prevent future horrors like what we've seen, to make sure that that article is spread and understood by politicians, leaders around the world, ordinary people, media, so that we can put an end to this racial hatred. We will never be able to live in peace, in my opinion, in years ahead, perhaps decades ahead. But slowly, if we're able to undermine this propaganda, then maybe there's a time in the future when we can live together. Not now. There will be no peace now. Not in my opinion, not real peace. But we've got to start somewhere. I'm Len, and this is Straight Talk from the Homeland.